Sally and I'm coming to you from Denmark, and this is my knitting podcast. I will link below where else you can find me on internet, like my Ravelry on Instagram. So if you want to see more pictures of what I'm knitting and some details and about my projects, then you always can find this down below. Yes, so today is quite warm and I'm wearing my finished object. I don't know how long I can keep it on, but we will start and we will try. So I finished my Vertices United. I think it took me like 2 weeks to make it, but it was mostly all what I was working on. Yeah, I will try to take it out to show you that more, and I really like it. So I had knitted the bigger size. The pattern is called in two size, coming in two size, small and large. So this is large. I knitted this shawl one time before in the blue color, so if you will go on my Ravelry page you probably can find that. But yeah, this time I decided to go like for grayish pink shades, and all that yarn what I use here, it was in my stash, so I didn't bought any. The one problem, I steal this pink color from the sweater that I'm knitting, so now I should go and buy more of this pink color. But yeah, let's start from begin. This first big triangular section is number 1, and I use this dusty pink and a gray color together for this section, and I think it looked really nice. Then for section, unfortunately I don't really have a lot of the yarn to show you back of this first section. This was this dusty pink and the gray. I don't have it anymore. So this dusty pink and gray was first section. Then my second section, this smaller section, and I use dark gray and this variegated gray. It's like grays have like white parts and light gray and dark gray. So it was this yarn with together with this dark gray. So that was my second section. I wasn't sure about this one before, but I think it's went nice together. So this is my second section. Then third section was this big square, and I had kind of like struggle with this section. First I was wanted to make this in a brown color, like that one. I thought it would be looking nice, but I started and it was like too much contrast. It wasn't coming together, like 3 sections wasn't playing together. So I decided to went for this yarn. It's like beige tone, but it have also this brown, and it have some pink together in, and it have some green color, but like on the camera you can clearly see that it's green, but when it's knitted in the shawl I thought it's like coming together with the gray quite nicely. So it was section 1, 2, and then section 3 I went in this variegated yarn. But I like how it's look. First I wasn't sure again, but again, first I started this in this brown color, if you can imagine, and it wasn't playing together. It was like really different. Yes, so that was my section 3. Then what was section 4? I believe this one was section 4. So I took just this gray variegated what I showed before and used this for section 4. Then in next section I used that brown what I wasn't sure before, together with pink what I was using in the first section, Yes, and for last section I also was not sure um, which yarn I should use. So first I started with this dark gray, but again it was like too contrasting here, and then it looked like first four section was coming together, and then this fifth section and then my sixth was in this dark gray, and that looked like two this section are not part of the shawl, or like they wasn't coming together nicely. So I again ripped up this dark gray color and put just light gray what was used here before. And yeah, uh, originally I started with 50 gram of this gray color, but when I came here I ended this, and so I just grabbed some leftovers what I had from previous project what was in exactly that color, and it helped me to finish the section. Yes, that another concern, my concern was what yarn to use for the border. And yeah, originally I had a crazy plan to use bright pink color like that one to end the shawl all over, and I thought that will be great. Yeah, but yeah, I asked my husband and my daughter, and they both said that that's crazy idea and I shouldn't do this. So yeah, after that I was wanted to use this pink color for do like edge around, but unfortunately I had like just really small amount back, and the shop is where I bought this yarn is on vacation now, and they work just on Saturdays now, and I understand that I couldn't wait a week to make a border, so I went with this brown color for the border, and I think it's look quite nice. I don't know how good you can see this, but I think it's played with all color, this gray, also here with the pink and with gray again. Yeah, I'm happy with the result. Can be great to cast on one more Vertices United, but I remember how I was working with this one, and that was basically all what I was wanted to knit. So yes, after I finished this project I had like a struggle because I didn't knew what I should knit again, and yes, I don't know why, but I'm really happy with how it's turned out. I used 3.5 millimeter needles for all sections and for bind off. I had some mistakes in the shawl. I think when I was doing the first section I didn't make increases in the pattern, and I think I didn't make increase in some rows, so I ended up with the section was longer as it should be. So when I was picking up for the second section I already was needed to pick up more stitches, but it's not hard to figure it out what I made, and it was okay. I wasn't ripping up. I decided like that 1 centimeter on the shawl will don't change anything, and many of yarn what I use here they was lighter fingering weight yarn, so they had like 230 meters per 50 grams. So I decided that my gauge probably wasn't right. I didn't swatch because it's shawl. I don't feel like swatching for the shawl. It's really needed thing. But yeah, I finished this. Really like this. I will try to insert some pictures of the shawl. Yeah, it was really great project. I'm really happy that I started it. I'm really happy with that yarn what I use, and I'm really happy that I actually didn't invest in new yarn. I just used the yarn from the stash, and it's made me feel really great about this. Yes, I have 2 more finished objects, and it feels really great. It was 2 weeks from when I podcasted last time, and yeah, and I had the summer course at university, so I'm not have like all days for myself, and was quite busy actually. So to have that much finished objects feels really great. My next finished object I showed you before. It's this Christmas socks, what I made for my son. Last Christmas I made 2 pair of Christmas socks for myself. I have leftover yarn. Out of them I use European size 37 shoes, so my leg isn't that big, and I also don't like tall socks. So yeah, I had plenty yarn back, so I made this socks for my son. Yeah, I need the foot slightly longer just to be sure that he can wear this in the winter. Yeah, out of this, nothing special, made them toe up, and the yarn what I used this from, what I used for this project, don't remember right now name, but as again, the all information you can find on my Ravelry page, or if you don't use Ravelry, you can just contact me and I will tell you what yarn was this. So yarn is coming in 2 cakes. It's already winded, and you should get identical socks out of this yarn. But because I already used that before, I ended this not in the same place. I guess maybe when I was normally I'm doing socks toe up, and then I use tubular bind off, and for tubular bind off you're taking some yarn before, and you leave in some yarn to make bind off, and then I use tubular bind off where you use sewing needle to go through stitches. So yes, so basically I probably cut more yarn for one socks and less for another, and I didn't check this when I was starting this socks, so they even from beginning you can see that this sock had more of this first green stripe and another, but I decided it's not that big difference to be seen. Yeah, and my son probably will don't see the problem in that. So yeah, so they also ended in different place. This had just green and this had like 1 row of red, but I'm okay with that. So they are finished. They wasn't blocked yet. I believe I wove in the end. Yeah, I wove in the end, but I didn't cut them yet, and they still have some stitch markers. But yeah, again, toe up. I made them 2 at a time to don't have a problem with second sock, and I make short row heel here. I have construction of this heel described in my last pattern about shorty socks, so that's the same heel I use here. Yeah, and I have around, I don't know, maybe 5 gram of this yarn back, so I will just put this in my cozy memory blanket. But I'm really happy. From 100 gram of yarn I get 2 normal pair of socks and still have small amount to put in cozy memory blanket, and this yarn is really soft. It's 75 merino, 25 nylon, but it's really soft. Yes, so that's my second finished object, and I was doing this in July because all these knit-alongs with Christmas in July is yeah, it's something that make me do this, and seeing all this Christmassy project on Instagram, I think it's quite cool and I like it. So yes, my second finished object for today, and my third finished object is also Christmas socks. So again, this yarn was something what I get what I was knitting socks for myself last Christmas. I made for myself matching socks. Yeah, but I knew that I will yarn what's left, I knew that that will be not enough for another pair of the matching socks, because the yarn going just in one cake. I actually saved the tag for this, so it was Lana Grossa. Yeah. Mail and Wait Christmas. I don't know. I will try to list this down below. I get this yarn in a present last Christmas, and yeah, I made the socks for myself immediately back that time. And this is yarn what I have left from that ball. I use literally all yarn. I start them from green yarn what I had left from previous, so I believe I cut the yarn to match the socks. When I finished the first one, I cut repeat, so I used this for starting, but after that I couldn't match it, and I basically just wind yarn in one cake, make the toe, and then started from the different sides of the cake, so one from inside, one from outside, and just was knitting as long as I could. So first I thought that maybe I will need to insert contrasting heel, but when I went to the heel I saw that I still have plenty of yarn, that I thought like, okay, I would like to make heel in that yarn, and then if I had shorty socks, then it's okay with shorty socks. But I actually basically get like 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 repeats after that, and each repeat it's like 7, if I count this right, like 7 rows, so it's plenty. Yeah, so basically I was going until I saw that I have like 4 repeats in a cake. Then in the middle of the first repeat I started to making a ribbon for the cuff, and then when I had a round yarn what I thought will be enough for tubular bind off, I just cut this in the middle and finished the socks. So yeah, they're not matchy, but they even go in like opposite direction, like that. You can see the repeat if I will hold them like that, but I'm okay with that. It's for my daughter. I asked her if she's okay with that they will not be matchy, and she's all time okay with if socks aren't matchy. So she thought that's okay, so I went with that and I finished socks like that, and I like them. So both of my kids now have Christmas socks, and again, that was socks from my stash, yarn from my stash, and I'm really happy that I used that. From this yarn, as I tell again, I didn't have any yarn back, so it will be without a square on my cozy memory blanket, but it's completely okay. So again, my Vertices United and 2 pairs of socks is my finished object for today. I think it's quite nice progress to have, especially now in the summer. So now I will show my work in progress. I didn't have a lot, as I mentioned before. After I finished my shawl, I didn't know what to do. I even spent like a day without knitting anything. It was quite strange, but yeah, I guess I just was knitting some bows. So another work in progress is my dishcloth. As I thought, I had like a lot of cotton yarn, but I bought like a pack in different colors, and I'm slowly working through that. So this is my dishcloth number 4, I believe, and I literally have like this repeat to finish and then bind off and it will be finished. So if I would put the time in that will be done today, but don't know if that will probably happen. So nothing special to tell with this. This pattern is not on Ravelry, as I told before, but yeah, I actually get from a library 2 books with dishcloth patterns, and I am really interested to show you to work through that. I will grab them. Yeah, my phone decided to stop recording. So yeah, as I told in the clip what wasn't recording, this is these two books what I get with dishcloth patterns, and I will just show you some of my favorite. Like they use just knit and purl, so it's quite easy. Like this, I really like, or this one I think it's quite simple, but also nice. And I think my favorite one is this pattern. So probably after I finish with that dishcloth, I will try to use some another pattern for my dishcloth. Another book have even more pattern, dishcloth pattern, and they probably all also use just knit and pearls. Didn't had a lot of time to go through it, so I basically just went on the site of library and just search for dishcloth and order some books. So this one also looked really nice. Oh, I'm showing the pattern. That have pattern right away with that. Yeah. This one is probably something what I am knitting, just with another number of stitches in repeat. Yeah, I saw a lot patterns like that on Ravelry when they have picture in the middle, and it's look kind of cool, but I'm not really up for that, so I don't know why. I'm not really knitting that dishcloth, but yeah. Before I thought that dishcloth is some like, to knit dishcloth is kind of like waste of time. Yes, but I was up more for knitting like shawls and sweaters, but now when I have plenty shawls and plenty sweaters, I realize and I still want to knit, but I just don't know what. So dishcloth is kind of like portable and small project what you can knit and you will use that. And also I have plenty of socks now, so yeah, I just need some small project. This one also look cool. Yes, I think it's all. If I will use more of this pattern, then you will probably see them more in my future podcast, but yeah, that's for now. My another next work in progress, it's a pair of socks. Previously I had knitted knee-high pair of socks with a rib pattern. They looked like that. Yeah, and I improvised how I was doing that because I didn't find any pattern that I liked to use for that. I was wanted to do them toe up and make them that they are quite fitted on the leg. So after I make them, I thought maybe I should write a pattern for them, but I decided to try this with another yarn to see if the stretch is different, because I feel especially if they are in a rib pattern that yarn behave like differently. Some have more elasticity, some less, so I pick up completely different yarn and trying to follow my notes from previous and look how that will go. And when I will be finished with this, I will be ready to write a pattern. So if you're interested to test knit a pair of knee-high socks, you can write me comments or message me on Instagram on Ravelry, and when I will be ready with the pattern, I will write to you. So I started another pair, and I tried to match them. I'm using yarn. First about yarn, I'm using yarn, it's called merino sock yarn from My Flower, and I don't know how good you can see. here is like gradient socks. They're not striped socks because the color repeat is slow, and it's like more, it's common, like it have tones. So that's how the yarns looks. I get 2 balls because I thought like that will be easier to make match socks. And I find the place where I saw the pattern repeater started, but when I went through this purple part, the pattern get different way. But again, these socks will be for my daughter, and she told that she like how it's going like that they're not completely the same. So I went with this, and I'm knitting them. I'm making them toe up. I made the heel already, and then now I'm just working my way up. Yeah, and trying, because there's our legs isn't straight, so I'm putting the set of increases to make it sit comfortable on the leg. And yeah, after we'll finish this, I will be looking for a couple of test knitters to see how that will go. So that's my second work in progress, and my last one isn't here. No, it's here. I decide that I don't have enough of cardigans. I recently kind of like destroyed one. Yeah, there's paint what accidentally went on my sweater, and it probably will be too hard to get it out. And basically I have more sweaters and the cardigans, and I feel like even now for summertime the cardigans is something that's more used, because you all the time you can put this on and then take it out when it's basically too warm. So I decided to cast on cardigan. Again, didn't find the pattern what I wanted to use, so I'm improvising, and we'll see how that will go. One problem, I don't really like the yarn. I don't know if you can see this, but that's how it's look. The stitches aren't even at all, and yes, you can blame me, but I know that that's not my fault that much. This is sock yarn from Garnet Silk in the shop. They don't produce that yarn anymore, so I bought this on Dishcloth, and I was knitting my half triangle rope in this yarn, and there I feel like the stitches wasn't even and that good. First time I thought that's because of the shawl is knitted in gather stitch, and it's not my favorite stitch to knit. But when I'm using this yarn for the cardigan, I see the same. I just hope that it will be more even after I will wash and block it. Yeah, if not, then this will be like home cardigan. But I'm trying to make notes of how I'm knitting this, and if I'm happy with fit, that I always can knit it in another yarn. So right now I'm just the pattern, not pattern, the my project have like Reglan increases and the border or color right away to don't go back and pick up all that. So I don't know how good you can see this, because I didn't separate for the sleeves even yet. So I'm just working my way through this cardigan and trying to put notes. And if the yarn will if I will don't like how the yarn look after the blocking, that I probably will make one more sweater again. If that how I count this and wrote my notes will and finished in a garment what is fitted like I want it. So yeah, that's my last work in progress, and that's all my knitting for this time. As I mentioned before, I took the summer course at university. I thought that it will be easier for me for next semester, then I will need to take less courses next semester. But now I think that wasn't the best idea. I was already really tired after last semester and I kind of like needed the break. But I just hope that now I will pull through that and I will have more time for myself in next semester. Yes, because the summer course was quite intense. I finished this already, but I have exam in a week and I have like written part to do and then 3-hour exam after. Yeah, but yeah, that was intense 3 weeks, but all will be okay. The worst thing was how it ended, that actually one student from a group get infected with corona, so we didn't have a chance to have the last class. We were sent on a Zoom all, and now because I was like close contact to that person, I also need to go through all this corona tests. I took one right away that day, but they don't really recommend to do this because they tell that it's not something what will show if you have corona, so I need to make one test today and one in 3 days again, and then it will be kind of like okay to know that I'm not sick. I'm not feeling sick now, but who knows. Yeah, I had just my first shot of vaccine, and we had like a hotline with corona related question where you can call and find out all information, and they tell that you can be safe just if you already have 2 shots of vaccine, and it was 2 weeks after that, and that definitely isn't my case. So yeah, we will see how that will end, and I don't think I was infected, but according to rules I should have all this tests, and I respect these rules, so I will do all that to don't spread infection further. Yeah, other of that, I'm looking forward to knitting on my sweater and on the socks. I will finish that dishcloth and probably will start another one. And I kind of like in a place now and I don't know what to knit. So if you have some excited design what you think like, yes, that's a great, you should knit it, just write me down in the comments, and I will try to look and maybe we'll get interested and we'll knit it. Yeah, other of this, that was all. Thank you all for watching. If you like this video, you can put like and subscribe. It helping my video to get higher and helping more people to see it and helping me to connect with more people around the world. And I'm really happy to do this because knitting is my favorite thing to do. Thank you for watching. Have a nice week. See you next time. Hi.